For those of us that were present at the stakeholders conference, this issue was squarely addressed. And even when we had the ISES meeting here, we charged and directed the law enforcement agents. In fact, it was part of my speech, and I directed that the law enforcement agents should deal with that issue squarely. INEC does not arrest or prosecute, but nevertheless, at the stakeholders conference, somebody even offered to give evidence, and we had requested him to come with such evidence before the commission, which will be handed over to the police for necessary action. So as far as vote buying, which somebody even called vote trading, is concerned, we have zero tolerance for that. And we have won on several occasions. It's contrary to the provisions of Section 151 of the Electoral Act, which prohibit any form of inducement. So we await such evidence from those that have mentioned it, and they told us that they can even mention names. We're still waiting for those names so that we take necessary action. Then on the issue of the flashpoint, I've just mentioned Ihiala local government, where we have about 20 registration areas. But because of insecurity, as we have the ISIS meeting at the national level, so also we have at the state level on matter of security, and then we have at local government areas. So at Ihiala local government area, we got security report that there are 6 registration areas that the security may not be guaranteed in those areas. And what we have done, and which was what happened at the last by-election, was to move those 6 registration areas to come and vote at the local government. They are all aware. As a matter of fact, in those 6 registration areas, we will not even find anybody there. They've already moved to the local government area. So they are going to vote at the local government area. And in other places such as Oka South, Idemili North, and is it Ogbaku or so, we have enough information, especially on the security risk management. And this has been escalated to the law enforcement agents. And that is why we're having about 45,000 deployment of policemen alone, apart from civil defense, apart from other security agencies. So as far as the issue of security is concerned, we have done our best to ensure that there is safety of life and property. Cases of misconduct, well, at the stakeholders conference and when we had meetings with the electoral officers, one thing we stress is that the resident electoral commissioner should own up the system. Electoral officers should also own it up, and any case of misconduct will not be tolerated. So at the same time, we also promise to reward any local government, any electoral officer that comes up clean and the results are announced on time. When voting takes place, we have our own metrics we are going to use as a reward system. But on the other hand, anyone that commits any misconduct will be dealt with accordingly. We made it very clear. As a matter of fact, we read a form of riot act, not only to the resident electoral commissioner, but to all the electoral officers. And they are well equipped and prepared for that. What guarantees high turnout? Well, we have done all that we need to do, and our own vision is inclusivity. We want to include everybody. So that is why we have taken several measures, including enlisting TAF, so that even the disabled will have access to exercise their civic rights. And we have done a lot of sensitization. The stakeholders meeting and engagement alone was another sensitization. All the traditional rulers, of several traditional rulers from several local governments were present. And we appeal to them to take the message back home, because We want people to come out and vote. And they were very happy, and they spoke that they were going to support INEC in going back to their various constituents and kingdoms and request members to come and voters to come out en masse and vote on Saturday, 8th November 2025. We equally charged all the political parties, their candidates, the party chairmen, the civil society. We said we cannot do it alone. And the much we do, if we don't have the support of all the stakeholders, we will not achieve the desired result. But I want to assure you that with the support and cooperation of all the other stakeholders, we'll have a fairly good turnout on Saturday. With all the stakeholders in Anambra State ahead of the November 8th off-cycle governorship election in Anambra State. 8 other national commissioners and several recs and directors were also present at the various engagements we had in Oka, Anambra State, and some other local governments. Our mission was to ensure that every vote counts, that the will of the people prevails, and that the electoral process is both peaceful and credible. From the solemn signing of the peace accord under the guidance of the National Peace Committee to our crucial security meetings and the comprehensive election stakeholders meeting on Tuesday, 4th November 2025, one simple message echoed consistently. Anambra must demonstrate the strength of its democracy by voting massively and peacefully this Saturday, 8th November 2025. At the Peace Accord, we reminded all political parties and candidates that the peace is not the signature inked on the document. It is the commitment to honor its contents. Without peace, our logistics will collapse. Our personnel and materials will be endangered, and the credibility of the election will be threatened. My deepest thanks to the National Peace Committee for this vital, sustained intervention. During the election stakeholders meeting, we stressed a critical truth. The greatest enemy to Anambra democracy is not just external violence, but voters' apathy. With a register of 2,802,790 eligible voters, Anambra has the numbers to powerfully shape its own destiny. However, the historical slide in voters' participation in the state is genuinely worrying. In 2013, governorship election, turnout was only 25.5%. That is 413,005 valid votes from 1,770,125 registered voters. In 2017, it dropped further to 20.10%. That is 422,314 valid votes from a total registered voter of 2,364,134. In 2021, the situation deteriorated sharply with a mere 10.27% turnout. That is 241,523 valid votes from 2,466,638 registered voters. Democracy only thrives when citizens actively choose their leaders. I therefore urge every person in Anambra State, to come out and exercise their civic rights without fear or favor. Now, following the conclusion of the voters' registration and a thorough database cleanup, The Commission finalized a register of 2,802,790 voters for this election on September 4th, 2025. Initially, only 63.9% voters had collected their PVCs. To close this gap, we decided to extend the PVC collection from Wednesday 29 October to Sunday 2nd November 2025, ensuring collection centers were open across all the 326 registration areas / wards. I am delighted to share a success story today that the extension has yielded excellent results. The percentage of collected PVC to register voters now stands at impressive 98.80%. This is a significant collection rate for any election in Nigeria, and it sends a clear signal to everyone. All uncollected cards will now be safely retrieved and stored at the Central Bank of Nigeria until after the election. In a major step for inclusion, we have also partnered with Africa to approve the deployment of sign language interpreters across the polling units in Anambra State. This landmark decision will enable 3,456 registered voters with disabilities in Anambra State to fully exercise their civil rights, a move South Africa has rightly praised as historic. Beyond access, the Commission is tackling the deployment with a rigor that will leave no room for excuses. All the 5,718 polling units must open simultaneously at 8:30 a.m. as advertised. We are deploying the beavers for accurate accreditation and result upload to IREF. More than 24,000 trained ad hoc staff personnel are on standby and about to be deployed, with 6,879 beavers devices fully tested, configured, and backed up. Over 3,000 vehicles and 83 boats, supported by security escorts, will guarantee timely movement, particularly to our riverine communities. Our Situation Room in Abuja will be monitoring the field operations live to ensure rapid response to any challenge. The era of delayed polling unit opening must remain firmly behind us. On security, the Nigerian police will deploy 45,000 officers and men, supported by the Nigerian Civil Defense, with about 10,250 of their personnel, and also deployment from other agencies under the ISIS. I assure you, neutrality is guaranteed, impunity will not be tolerated. To demonstrate our unwavering commitment to flawless delivery, 4 national commissioners have remained in Anambra State to personally supervise the election. Supported by 10 resident electoral commissioners, apart from the resident electoral commissioner in Anambra State, those 10 other recs are deployed from across the country. Please note that the registered voters in the 6 registration areas facing some security challenges, especially in Ihiala local government, will vote safely and securely in the local government secretariat, protected by security agents. As a commission, we are determined to deliver an election that is credible, inclusive, transparent, and efficiently executed. Anyone attempting violence, vote buying, intimidation, or ballot interference will face swift and lawful consequences. And to the voters, you have collected your PVC. Security will protect you, and INEC is ready for you. So come out on Saturday, 8th November 2025, vote freely, vote peacefully, and vote proudly. By God's grace and the courage of the people, the 2025 Anambra Governorship Election will be peaceful, credible, and a true victory for democracy in Nigeria. May I use this medium to remind us of the FCT Area Council election that will take place in February next year. Out of the 13 activities published, we have accomplished 8, and we are on the 9th, which is the submission of the names of the polling agents and observers for the election. The activity will end on the 15th December 2025. We would like to call on all political parties and other stakeholders to take note of this deadline. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic